Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Sharks win a much-needed game against the Montreal Canadiens tonight, 5-2. I'm Eric Landi. I'm joined by Eric Kuhre, and I'm joined by newcomer Alex. It's great to be here, great to be on. If you want to be a part of the show, please tweet at us at TealTownUSA with the hashtag TealTownUSA. Anyhow, we're going to do a quick check-in with the boys down at the tank. Jentry and AJ, take it away.
Well, hold on. Did you come to us? We can't hear you.
Yes,
go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Landy. Come on, Landy.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I've been called so many things on the show lately, whether it's Jason, Landy, it's getting confusing. I'm having an identity crisis, much like the Sharks power play, which was 2 for 7 tonight.
All right.
So
come on, Ali Lander.
Oh my God.
No, it was a great game, great atmosphere, and I like the Sharks jump from the get-go. I didn't like the quick response from the Canadiens, but other than that, I very much enjoyed this game. It was very much a Sharks return to form, and the crowd was really into it. I got to give him credit.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, Kuhre, have a night, 2 goals, 2 assists, leading the charge. The big boys finally starting to get on the score sheet. Although, I mean, let's be honest, Thornton passed it to the net at the end, but, Pavelski gets on the score sheet, Hertl gets on the score sheet. Some of the big money guys getting involved. So, good to see. And
also, I'm glad that, Jumbo's first goal of the year was on an empty net because that's the only way he can score. So, let's keep the tradition alive, folks. Keep it alive.
How was the turnout, guys?
I thought it was there was a lot of empty seats against Buffalo. We saw those tweeted out tonight. Actually, I thought it actually wasn't bad. I want to say that it was probably maybe 500 empties or so.
So it was almost the same amount of turnouts that it was for Saturday against the Islanders, which was surprising because there was no free giveaway tonight other than the hat.
Yeah, well, and the hat was, you had to buy a special ticket for that. So the fact that there was no automatic giveaway at the door, I actually think it was a pretty decent turnout tonight. So, although did you hear them announce an attendance?
They didn't announce attendance.
Again, they didn't announce an attendance tonight, which makes me wonder. Technical sellout because it seems like they're not mentioning those. So, sure. But there you go. It's still good atmosphere in the building. But I do want to say the reason why the game sold as well as it did tonight may have a lot to do with the fact that there was a good amount of Canadiens fans here.
Oh, a decent amount. I could see a lot of red in each section, and it was very noticeable, almost on par with going to see the Sharks against the Red Wings.
Interesting. Yeah, bro. That's quite a turnout. I mean, the Red Wings are always really a solid show here. And, that attendance kind of got me worried a little bit. Anyhow, I'm joined again. We'll quickly go over the panel. Alex, new to Teal Town USA. Well, not too new, but new to Teal Town After Dark. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing okay. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came into hockey, a little bit of background?
So I played hockey for about 5 or 6 years. And basically, it was basically the 1999 season where I think that was the prime year to join hockey and watch hockey, at least in this area, from my point of view. About me, I run a small video game website, and that's kind of what I do on the side subject. I also study journalism at San Jose State, so that's kind of what I'm doing. What I mostly do at the part-time right now. But in terms of why I love hockey, it's something I've always followed, and it's something I know how to talk about. So,
well, it's great to have you on board, and then we have Mr. Puck Guy himself, who unfortunately has work in the morning, so he's joining as a panel member, which is kind of a different position for you.
Yeah, it's a little different and it's a little weird, but I appreciate you taking this because work comes very early tomorrow, and I've already taken my Z quill for sure.
Yeah. So we can't keep the Mr. Fuck guy on for too long tonight because he's
It happens.
but I must say, because this is tradition, les Sharks de San Jose battant les Canadiens de Montreal 5-2. Bienvenue à Teal Town après some...
Mute him.
I think that was a good enough breakup. I like that.
Dude,
good chiming, guys.
We can literally barely hear you, but we heard that. We're like, mute him. And can we just point out that for those of you who watch late night TV, the new addition to the show, Alex, really looks like James Corden at like 18 years old.
No.
Can you do me a favor and like speak in a British accent for the rest of the show?
Have you had that comparison before, Alex?
I wish, but no, I've never had that comparison.
At least it's not. At least it's not Jack Black.
Special Teal Town USA show will be lip sync battles.
Yes.
Oh god! And then carpool
Teal
karaoke.
Town, yes, Teal Town carpool karaoke coming this fall.
Wow.
Yes.
And Gen X chiming in. Oh Jesus, his Quebecois is worse than his Spanish. That it is. That it is. All right. Well, let's kind of run it down and break down for you guys.
All right.
The Sharks win tonight, 5-2. All around, just a great game. I think Sharks really won in the special teams battle, going 2 for 7 on the power play. The Canadiens score once on their power play, going 1 for 6. So penalty kill was there.
Guys,
good tonight. Yeah, gentlemen, what's up?
This is how much I hate my life. Behind me, in the background, back in the back, they're showing the damn Warriors game, which is like, there's like a point difference between the score. And there's a decent amount of people at the bar just watching the damn Warriors game.
It's not a bad game. I won't be lying.
With that, hold on. There's too many things annoying me right here with all this Warrior stuff. So we're gonna get the hell out of here. Maybe I'll pop on once I get home if you guys are still rocking. So 5-2 win.
Fill in for me. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Back to you, Landy.
Back to me. Yeah. The laundry was out tonight, but it is folded. So it's a little bit of a mix up here. Just kind of trying to change the mojo, which actually kind of worked because the top 6 forwards for the Sharks kind of woke up tonight. Joe Pavelski, finds the back of the net on a fluky deflection. Logan Couture also scores twice tonight. Thomas Hertel's got a goal tonight, and Joe Thornton passes into the empty net. Guys, what's the quick takeaways? Alex, let's start with you.
I actually I thought Hertel was the best player, even though Couture got most of the stats. He was the setup guy for most of the game, but I thought Hertel has been the surprising player this season in terms of stay up the left wing, taking that spot from Marleau. I thought he's been continuously filling that void for the first 5 games so far.
Nice.
But I'm glad that we're seeing Pavelski come back to at least his normal captain rate. I was hoping we wouldn't see a decline quite yet.
Agreed. Buckeye, what was your initial thoughts on the game tonight?
Kind of echoing what Alex said, it was just the big guys actually showed up tonight. It's like, okay, it's October 17th. We're already 2 weeks into the season. Then again, with the World Cup and such, they had the little delay, so now they're actually focused into the season right now. But I saw them skate with a little more oomph. I thought they worked hard to create more scoring chances. Even the ones that didn't go well. Even the speed I saw with Yannick Hansen's breakaway. Yeah, he didn't score, but he actually got a nice chance and got a good look at him, even though he kind of whiffed on his fake slapper shot. But I thought Hertel played a great game. I thought Pavelski had a good game. But a parade to the penalty box tonight, especially in the second period, that was crazy.
Yeah.
We're continuing to see the trend in the NHL calling penalties fast and furious. It looks like they're really trying to rid the hooking and grabbing, and almost at 2000. I guess that would be 07, 08, and prior to the lockout as well. Just kind of coming a lot. I guess that would be 06, 07. After the lockout.
Yeah, I would also say that Dylan was pretty good in the first two periods on the odd man rushes that the Sharks gave up pretty frequently. That seems to be a problem that we've seen in the first 5 games. Any team that has speedsters, that team tends to be a problem. The Kings, the Flyers, that definitely showed up there, and I thought we might have seen the same result, but the second period kind of turned a page.
Yeah. Well, let's quickly go over the goaltenders tonight. Carey Price wasn't very good tonight. He let in 4 goals on 34 shots with an .882 save percentage. And then going over Martin Jones, he was a little shaky in the first period, I thought. I really did not like that goal Duran scored.
Yeah.
Scored top shelf. Looked like Jones was leaning and a little bit farther back in the net. Didn't like the positioning at that at all. But he ends the night with a respectable .933 save percentage, saves 28 of 30, and really acquitted himself well in the second and third periods. Really standing on his head during some of those breakaways that Alex was kind of talking about. And quickly, I think this year especially, we are seeing that the stretch pass can definitely expose the Sharks back end. And I think the lack of foot speed is definitely what's causing these odd man rushes and breakaways to really kind of open up is that stretch pass. We saw it again tonight where just a beautiful pass up to Galchenyuk. I think it was on a breakaway.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Luckily Martin Jones saved the bacon, but yeah, just those stretch passes seem to be killing the Sharks right now. Bad turnover in the neutral zone. Yeah, Sleepy Mofo, I definitely agree. The Sharks' neutral zone play tonight has been better than we've seen. And especially with this team, whoever owns the neutral zone is really going to own the ice. Quickly, kind of just running down Sharks' time on ice possession. Time on ice numbers. Joe Pavelski tops in at 18:34, and Logan Couture is the ice time leader on the forwards with 19:20. Marc-Edouard Vlasic coming in at 22 minutes. Brent Burns at 26 minutes. Overall, though, no Shark dipped below 10 minutes 50 seconds, and that least amount of ice time belonged to Jonas Donskoy, who I thought looked fairly decent tonight. I didn't think he was invisible. He had some good passes, but you can definitely still see that Peter DeBoer's kind of got him riding the pine pony a little bit, to steal a baseball term. What do you guys think about ice time distributions and Donskoy kind of getting the short end of the stick here?
Yeah, you want to start, Buckeye?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to jump in there. I'm sorry. It's a message sender. I mean, I don't want to say we have the PDB doghouse, but I mean, let's be real here. He had a rough year last year, and yes, he had the shoulder injuries that kind of hindered him all year. However, there hasn't been that show me something like he had the first year when he was with San Jose. So it's interesting as to he scored the cup winning goal. I wish. The game winning goal in Game 3 of the Cup final, but ever since then it hasn't done much for Jonas Donskoy.
I think it all depends what they do with Ward. I have a feeling that they're going to probably waive him. Maybe that's an option they can't do, but it just seems like he might get fewer minutes, but I think he's going to be a fourth line guy, and that's about it.
I mean, I think that Donskoy definitely has third line to second line skill. I mean, if we were talking old school NHL, he might not have enough skill to be present in that top 6, because old school NHL, your bottom 6 was definitely grinders and just pile drivers to the net. But I think in the new school NHL, I think he's definitely got third line skill. And I really, really like that line with Chris Tierney and Timo Meier. I don't really know why they broke it up so quickly. So with that regard, so putting him on the fourth line does create a skill mismatch for other teams because, like I said, Donskoy he's a very skillful player. And when you put him on the fourth line with Ryan Carpenter, who I think is a little underrated in the offensive department. He definitely was a point getter in the Barracuda, so he knows how to put it in the back of the net. And then you also put I believe it is Bodker, right?
Bodker, yeah.
And you put that on there, you kind of got a little bit of a skill fourth line that I really like. So
I think you might as well. I think with Bodker on the left wing, I think he's a left winger. I think you might as well do something on the right wing, make him maybe more enforcer, something of that degree, make it maybe to balance out that line. But Ward can't fill that sort of role. He's again, I don't know what Ward is in 2017. He was perfect in 2015, but I don't know what they do with Ward, and that's kind of like the big question. What they do with Ward is what they do with Donskoy.
Yeah, it's all these guys that have been teetering right now, whether it's been healthy scratch or whatnot, they just haven't, like I said before, they haven't showed me anything. Show me something that makes you want to stay in the lineup and to go in there. I mean, we could quite conceivably see Donskoy scratched when they start this road trip on Friday, but it remains to be seen what in the world PDB does. Tonight, you had a decent showing from your top six, which desperately needed a big showing. The defense was okay. I'm trying to pull back up in the chat here. I think it was Bearded Shark Sky 661.
Yeah,
who was asking him, what did you guys think, or with how good Ryan is playing, who is on the hot seat, DeMello or Martin?
I believe it's DeMello, in my opinion. I think right now they have the luxury to spend time with Martin to get that ankle back up to speed. So right now, I mean, the only time that Ryan is taking minutes away from is DeMello. And DeMello looked really shaky. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I'm just saying that Paul Martin is currently on the IR, right, for our month.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think this is much of an issue until he comes back until early November. So I think DeMello should get all the experience he should get. So I think DeMello should be probably doing better, but yeah.
Well, do we think that last year's kind of seventh man spot that he was put into was detrimental to his overall development as a defenseman? Because I think it is. I think it was. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because he didn't get in there. He went with the veteran Schlemko, which you needed to expose somebody veteran wise for Vegas to take in the expansion draft and subsequently trade to Montreal. And I don't think they wanted a youngster like DeMello to be gone. So I think you saw them kind of show off Schlemko a little bit more, and therefore thinking, all right, DeMello, this is your position going into camp. Show me something. And the thing is, Heed and Ryan showed the Sharks something. I mean, yeah, it was a de facto position for DeMello. However, DeMello had an okay game in, the first game or two, and now he hasn't been on there since. So he's got to show something, or the other guys falter before he gets a chance. And you know what? Good on PDB for doing that, because hopefully that makes him hungry to get out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Kind of shifting, I guess. Let's shift gears a little bit more towards the positive end of the spectrum now. Take a look at the Sharks' scoring, and Logan is leading the Sharks, which is really good to see. Kevin LeBlanc is really close behind. Joe Pavelski's starting to finally get the legs going and finally kind of see he's still got it. And Timo and Chris Tierney are also scoring as well. And let's not to forget, Thomas Hurdle's got 2 goals on the year already. So it's really nice to see the entire, I guess, offensive output coming from not just core players anymore, but kind of more of a spread. And we said, look, this year is going to be big for Thomas Hurdle. This year is going to be very big for Chris Tierney. And this year is kind of going to make or break Michael Bodker. So it's good to see the kids stepping up and really backfilling, the offense that we lost with number 12 going over to that blue and white team. What do you guys think about the kids so far?
Good. I
think the new guys, the new kids, are doing pretty well. But the issue right now is they're not getting enough ice time. I think players like LeBlanc should get more than a second, or should gain second line ice time. I don't really think that Joe Thornton has been playing as well as he has, or he doesn't really think. I don't think he's 100% healthy after getting injured. What, 80%? Or like, if he was injured in September, or when was he injured? He was injured in that Dallas game. So I don't think he's fully recovered quite yet. He still.
I believe it was against the Canucks.
It was Canucks or Dallas, one of the two. But like, when you see him on the power play, he's just always slow, and it just seems like it drags the power play to a halt. And I just wonder if he'd be better suited as a second or third stringer. And I know that's, for someone like Joe Thornton, that's crazy talk, but like, I feel like he's no longer a first line player anymore.
I originally, I think in the first 3 games, I kind of started to see that. However, in the last 2, you've definitely seen that vision come back and return. I think he was making some really great plays tonight, back-checking really well. And it didn't look like the knee was hampering, which we couldn't say that about the first 3 games. So I want to give Jumbo a little bit more time to kind of settle in, to really kind of see what he's got in the tank. But I think he's coming along well. And like I said before, I think it's nice that the kids are definitely backfilling some of that offense that we are missing. What do you think about Jumbo and just kind of where he's at?
Well, I mean, you had prior to tonight, he just had 1 assist on the year. And with that, I mean, see, here's the thing: is that we're so used to him just picking up the points and such. I thought he had a little bit of a better game tonight, which is great and all. However, he's not, the Jumbo we expected like from 2 years ago. And that's the thing. Good on him that he's already getting on his trend to shooting it into the. Sorry, I forgot. He doesn't shoot. He passed it into the open net, and it counted as a goal. But he's finding those passes. He had a couple nice passes. The speed isn't where he once was, but then again, at the same time, he wasn't like a super speedster like a certain 12 that currently plays for a blue and white team.
Well, and I just kind of want to address something really quick in the chat. People are kind of going, well, Peter DeBoer's riding the vets. Peter DeBoer's riding the vets. I mean, Jumbo had 17:45 in ice time tonight. Hurdle had 16:29. Chris Tierney had 13:37. Kevin LeBlanc almost had 15 minutes of ice time. This is a lot more balance than we've seen in the last 2 years of Peter. Mm-hmm. So as much as I understand the criticism and as much as I understand that people think that it's riding the vets, I think Peter DeBoer should be commended a little bit for really improving the ice time distributions for the kids.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I also think that his career with the Devils has also been kind of too harshly criticized. Yeah, he made it to the Stanley Cup final with them in 2013, 12, yeah. But that team was really old, didn't really have a lot of talent. The Sharks have more talent, but like, I just feel like he's adapting more he's either learning from that experience and bringing it over to here, or we're just more capable.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Just something kind of quickly that I wanted to bring up. I heard Paul Gackle's last podcast, and something that kind of came to mind was more about Peter DeBoer's system, or the defensive aspects of his system. To me, is what's hampering this team 5-on-5. I don't think it's the personnel. I think it's just the lockdown kind of system that he plays. And we've all seen his career arc where it's 3 years. Basically, the first year you get the best out of Peter DeBoer. Second year it tails off, and then third year it gets even worse. And my theory behind that is because in the first year you're having some of those defensive seeds being planted, but the whole system isn't really ingrained yet. And then in second and third years, you're seeing that system really get pounded into the players. So to me, I'd love to see him open it up just a tiny bit more, a little bit more freewheeling, a little less north-south, and a little less dump and chase. And I think that goes a long way to clear up some of the 5-on-5 woes.
I totally agree with you on that. I think this season kind of rests on what type of player we're going to get with Brent Burns as a defenseman, not as a offensive left winger. That's kind of where I stand on this season, because I think the blueprint about having to I thought he froze for a second. But I think the blueprint to having to solve Burns is either just have a defenseman that just goes out to block him, and that's kind of how you solve the power play for right now. And that seems like Peterborough hasn't really solved that issue right now.
No, Buckeye, what do you think about the power play so far? Just kind of the way that Peter DeBoer is deploying that second power play unit a little bit more than we have seen in the past.
It goes to show you how much confidence he has, I think, in Kevin LeBanc.
And Hurdle.
And Tomas Hurdle. And for Hurdle, maybe more so. But I think those two have been connecting very well. I think I mentioned it on one of the first broadcasts, how comfortable LeBanc looks essentially quarterbacking that second power play unit. And you're not relying on Jumbo and Couture and Pavelski to get it done, because let's be real here, that was probably one of their downfalls in the late stretch of the year last year. And to get it done with the second unit, you don't have to rely on your top unit, and you can save them for a little bit more later on in the game, where you're going to need the money players to bang home, or should I say deposit into the net. Back to you, Landi.
The banker, yeah. I mean, to me, I've liked the ice time distributions. I haven't liked the fact that it's a little bit more of a revolving door in that bottom six. He hasn't really settled on what he wants yet from that bottom six. But you know what? That being said, I like the fact that he is starting to trust the young kids a lot more. I mean, like I said, like we've been talking about, Tomas Hurdle has been seeing a lot of ice. He's currently got 3 points. He's second on the team and third on the team, tied with Jumbo, Pavelski, Bodker for points. So,
But is Hurdle seeing more ice time because he's on the wing now?
Yes, I have gone on record as saying that Hurdle, when he is not a center, does not think about responsibility, therefore, and I think that's where he needs to be. If they want to make him a center and they want to make him a first-line center, you're going to have to live with the fact that he's going to be more defensively oriented.
Yeah, the Sharks have plenty of centers at that position. Better to have someone at left wing, better to fill that void, that more on the left. I don't think we have a lot of left wingers that are capable quite yet, either from our youth or veterans-wise. So I think Hurdle is going to be a left winger, and I think LeBanc could also be a left winger at worst-case scenario. Yeah.
Buckeye, what do you think about Hurdle in the center and left wing debate?
It's pretty obvious to see that Hurdle does a decent job. He does do a defensively sound job, but it hinders his offensive capability. With the left wing, he's out there. He does some of his defensive work, but he can be a little more creative on the wing. And especially with a decent center like either Couture or Thornton or Pavelski, you're going to have him open and be capable of it. He showed it tonight on his power play goal. It wasn't exactly planned how he was going to score that goal, but hey, you take him when you can.
Yeah, definitely. And we didn't really talk about it, but we've, Melker Karlsson coming up on that line with Couture and with Hurdle, and I thought that was a really nice combination. You got a lot of size there now, with Melker and with Hurdle flanking Couture, which that has been for me the knock on Couture's game since he joined the Sharks. He's just kind of small. I think he's not easily taken off the puck, but I think he does play a little bit of a smaller size game versus Hurdle and Melker Karlsson. He plays like he's 6'5", and the kid is just full of steam. So I like to see that with Couture.
At this point, though, I don't know if it's size that is the deal as much as speed after what we've seen the Sharks do in the last 2 years. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I think that sweet spot is really getting a 6'2", maybe 210, 200-pounder with some speed. And I think that's what makes Melker work, to be quite honest. And I think that's what the Sharks are going to have to transition to is a speedier but still big team.
It depends. If they really think that Anaheim is going to be the best team out of the Pacific, or the Oilers, both those teams are very much speed and size. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you do in that case. If it's the Oilers, then it's deja vu from last season.
Yeah, and the Oilers are in a super funk right now, and they're probably freaking out.
They got Connor. They're just fine.
All right, well, let's put a bookend on this game, I guess, and we'll go around the NHL. Shots on goal tonight: Sharks with 35, Canadiens with 30. Sharks win the faceoff dot 53%. Go 2 for 7 on the power play, 1 for 6 on the 5 for 6 on the penalty kill. 20 hits for the Sharks, 28 hits for the Canadiens, 20 blocks for the Sharks, 16 blocks for the Canadiens. Giveaways, and I keep pounding on this, and this one's my drum. I know AJ's got the power play drum, but mine is the giveaways. The giveaways are 21-10. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. That's still not good enough for the Sharks. And I know that giveaways can be counted as puck. Oh my goodness, dunk and chase, but dunk and chase. Yeah, exactly. Puck dumps and retrievals. But still, 21 giveaways is not good, and I think that's going to be something that these guys are really going to need to clean up. So anyhow, the Sharks win 5-2 tonight. Let's kind of go around the NHL. And
quick note: I think this was a somewhat of a must-win because they would have been 1-4 going on the East Coast trip. So, so I don't think they wanted that scenario to happen.
No, definitely. I definitely agree, and I think that's a good segue to the division and just talking about the division. We're now 5 games in, and we can talk a little bit about who's and what in the standings. Vegas, surprise, surprise, out of the Pacific Division, Vegas has got 5 wins. They're sitting on the top with 10 points, 5 rows. For all of you still playing the drinking game.
Yes.
Los Angeles is in second place, occupying second place. They're 4-0-1, which is a little bit of a shocker because Dustin Brown, our favorite player, is really leading the resurgence in scoring right now. I don't know that that's going to last. It's really early, but still, it makes you want to kind of barf all over your keyboard. Calgary is in third place with 8 points. They're 4-2 right now. And Kuhre, don't my God, puck guy, I can already hear it. But Vancouver is 2-2-1 with 5 points. Anaheim is sitting below 500 with 2 wins, 3 losses, and 1 overtime loss. Sharks are in in the sixth position, 2-3. Edmonton, I think, which is where I think we really wanted to go with this discussion, is 1-4. I mean, Connor McDavid's points have dried up. Leon Draisaitl's on injured reserve with concussion symptoms. Guys, what is going on with Edmonton?
Worst case scenario, everything that could have gone bad did. The hard cap they actually hit with players that they, I think extending the Connor McDavid contracts was a little bit too much. I think he had an extra 2 years before that contract hit, or was 1 year?
1 year.
Yeah, but I think that might have hurt them a year ahead of time. Maybe they could have done something during the trade deadline, but probably that has something to do with it, but not too much. But maybe just goaltending. But I don't know what you could say. I think Connor, when you have the best player, you're going to figure it out. I think it's just a minor slump. But I think the 2 major storylines so far are Connor and the Knights. 5-1, or is it 1-5? One of the 2.
5-1. Knights.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know which one's going to stay, but like when I did my predictions, I thought the Sharks were only going to win 41 wins, and I thought the Kings were going to push out the Sharks. But if this holds true with the Knights might push out the Sharks. So
I still think long term, though, the Knights are not deep in the center position.
They are.
I just don't see them really stacking up against the centers that are in this division. And I think the thing that we should really kind of talk about, Cam Talbot he's got only 1 win. And right now he's rocking a 396 goals against average, 3.96 goals against, and an 880 save percentage. And then Brisebois has got a 3.65 goals against average and a save percentage of 854. And guess what, guys? There's only 1 game separating in the starts. So we know how Todd McClellan loves to ride his goalie. And right now they have no confidence in Cam Talbot. It's just – it's crazy.
Which is concerning for Oilers fans, just because everything is falling apart early on. You can have that panic throughout early on in a Canadian market. It can just be huge, massive cluster pucks, if you want to say.
Yeah.
It just because it's Edmonton. A lot of people were picking them to come out of the West for the Stanley Cup final, and here they are 1-4, where they're losing the teams where they should be honest, they should have beaten. And Cam Talbot was lights out last year, but maybe he's just had a little falling back, kind of like what Joner's gone through this season so far, but yeah, it's quite interesting. And again, Draisaitl on IR and everything. Yes, AJ.
Yeah, AJ, what's up? Hello?
And he's gone.
And he's
Hold on, boys. We're talking about Edmonton not doing well, right?
Yes.
Right.
#blame Remenda.
Oh goodness, the ghost of Drew Remenda haunts. I guess it'd be haunting Edmonton right now, but I mean, look, Connor McDavid's got 6 points in 5 games, and he's over a point a game. I think -2, but still, I mean, he's still the heart and soul of that team. He's getting his points, but right now the supporting cast is just not there. I mean, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Chris Russell, and Milan Lucic have 3 points. They're tied for second on the team with 3 points. Leon Draisaitl is a big blow to them. I mean, it's Connor and Draisaitl is the 1-2. It's the Gretzky to Messier, and I just don't think that they are. I don't think that they have the depth. I've always worried about the depth, and I'm always worried about how that team is going to backfill around the talent. And I think you're starting to see it.
Boys, we're a week and a half into a season. Screenshot the standings now, and let's match them up again, Martin Luther King Day, and see how close everything matches up.
Well, I mean, but we can draw early conclusions, though. I mean, I think we can draw early conclusions.
Dude, early conclusions. There were people after 2 games had the Vegas Knights going 82-0.
Well, they looked that good.
They're 5-1 right now.
Yeah, they looked that good. And they're the best team in the Western Conference right now.
It's weird.
I think general trends, though. I think general trends. I mean, we know Todd McClellan as a guy to ride his goalie, and right now, like I said, Brisebois and Talbot are separated by 1 game started.
So the top 3 teams are in the Pacific: Vegas, Los Angeles, and Calgary.
And if I was a betting man, which of course I am, I will bet any one of you guys that all 3 of those teams will not be in the top 3 come April.
How about out of the playoffs?
No, I didn't say out of the playoffs. I said out of the top 3.
That's cheating, then.
That's not cheating. You just said that here are the top 3 teams, and I'm saying come April, all 3 of those teams will be out of the playoffs, my young Padawan.
Okay, there can be 5 wild cards then. That's what you're basically.
I'm not.
saying.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about wild cards. I'm saying you just said the top 3 teams in the Pacific are Vegas, Calgary, and who?
Los Angeles.
And Los Angeles. I'm telling you, the 1, 2, and 3 spot in the Pacific come April will not include any of those 3 teams.
Then what's the one team you don't see making it from those 3?
LA.
I can see that.
Yeah.
See, and I have to go.
Thank God the guy who could have been fathered by Tomas Hertl agrees with me. Dude, you're gonna get the young pup jokes. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah, dude. Until you grow that beard out, it's just gonna be a thing.
Welcome to the show, Rook.
But seriously, though, I mean, kind of going across what AJ's saying. For me, I think we are going to see a resurgent Los Angeles, and I'm not saying resurgent as in going to be in the top 3 of the division, but I think that they definitely will challenge for a wild card because they weren't too far off last year.
Yeah,
are they in or out, Landy?
They're in. They're going to be in as a wild card.
We need to get a wager going.
I think Vegas is going to be a wild card. Calgary is going to be a Pacific team. I just don't know who's going to be that 3rd team, though, because I have Calgary being in. So
what is your top 3, Alex? And at the end of the day, what is your top 3 in the division?
Ducks, Calgary, and I need to look at the standings. Sorry.
I'm sure you probably had Edmonton at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I probably did. So yeah.
Yeah, and for me,
I did like Winnipeg though. So
we're just talking about the Pacific, boys.
Yeah, just the Pacific, just the
and
Pacific.
the wild card. Yeah, go ahead.
And the wild card, and for me, I think I still go. Jeez, I just don't think that Randy Carlyle is that great a coach, and I think he's going to grate on Perry and Getzlaf. They already got him fired once. I think this is when we start to see the decline of the Ducks. It wouldn't surprise me if they drop the 3rd in the division. I think Edmonton, I mean, if they can get their crap together, are still primed for winning the division. And I think
Landy's 5 seconds away from saying the Ducks are going to pull a fucking LA Kings and be like, dude, they're going to lock the coach out of the locker room just like they did with Boston.
Look, I mean, Randy Carlyle is as abrasive as Daryl Sutter. Might be more, in my opinion. And you know what?
You'd be abrasive too if the donuts didn't arrive in time.
True. I think it stacks up, in my opinion. I think it goes Edmonton, San Jose, and I'm going to say Calgary. And then I'm going to go with LA being in the wild card.
See, I got Edmonton, Anaheim, and San Jose.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Fight me.
For 31st in the chat, Chris Edwards, 31st PK belongs to Edmonton at 68%.
And we're a week and a half into the season.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, there was an article today yesterday, whatever it was, that was pontificating on the benefits of trading Pavelski now to. You know what though? You think about it. This is Thornton's last ride. Pavelski, 33 years old, and what we've seen the Sharks do in the draft has not been stellar. Maybe it is that time where Doug Wilson finally embraces the Bill Walsh kind of aspect and says, better to trade a guy too early and get value than to wait too long and get nothing.
I think you would have seen him trade Pavelski in the offseason, though. Instead, he hands Joe Thornton a $8 million contract as a 38-year-old. If you were going to trade Pavelski, it was going to happen before.
Isn't that Couture, though? Because Couture has the longer injury history, and I don't see him as durable. You could probably say that for Hurdle also. But
yeah, let's be honest. I mean, $1 million of Couture's dollars in his contract is just for teeth insurance.
Probably. That's probably true.
Yeah.
But those are the two players I could see that possibly being, two first round draft picks, but that would have to be Coyotes. Like, just give me all those first round draft picks.
But like Chris Edwards says in the chat, Couture is younger and a true center.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. But and the tough part is that if you're going to trade somebody, I think what doesn't Pavs have like a limited no trade, and I know Jumbo has a full no move.
Really, I thought that was just like part of signing with the Sharks, is you just automatically got a limited no trade.
Well, let's talk about quickly where are the Sharks' depth? Where is it, and where is it in the system? And believe it or not, for the first time in a long time, and AJ's probably gonna, face palm, but defense.
Yep.
You have a healthy and quite frankly young Dylan DeMello chomping at the bit. You have Joakim Ryan and Tim Heed who have just been plug and play. You're gonna have Paul Martin come back, and
oh my God. Let me at him.
Is that a negative or a positive?
No, I mean I think that just means that there's going to be a little bit of excess in the defense department, where I think that's where Doug Wilson, we've seen it before, he trades from positions of strength. His defensive prospect pool is a position of strength right now.
I get what you're saying, but I look at Yoki Ryan and Tim Heed. Do I picture those guys cracking the top two for the defense? No. Those are going to be 3 or 4 guys at best. And Paul Martin, I mean, Jesus, he's like, the same age as Thornton. I mean, when I saw that contract that they signed him for 4 years when he was like 36 years old, I was like, are you kidding me? So Paul Martin, to me, I would doubt that Paul Martin is going to be on the squad next year, to be honest with you. Like, they're going to figure out a way to get out of that deal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You trade Paul Martin.
Yeah, but what? I mean, literally, what are you going to get for him? The
Douglas
value.
Murray got traded for two second rounders.
Oh no, I'm not disqualifying the stupidity of other teams by any stretch. I'm just saying that I'm looking at that pipeline, and right now the big ones in the pipeline, obviously, because if they weren't, they wouldn't be getting ice time with the Sharks right now, are Heed and Ryan. And from what I've seen so far, Heed and Ryan are at best second pair guys. They're not that stud that the Sharks have been looking for forever. I mean, when it comes down to it, the Sharks have been in the league now 26, 27 season, whatever the hell it's been.
27.
I mean, we all discount the 2004 season that never got played, but if you look at it, the Sharks have honestly, if you think about it, they've had 3 stud defensemen over that entire tenure: Ozolinsh, Boyle, and Burns. You could maybe make a case for Stewart at one point until he took that hit, and then his game significantly changed. But the 1-2 guys, just the Sharks, for some reason, have proven time over time that they cannot find that 1-2 top, that top tier defense. And we all heard about how great Matt Carl was going to be, how great Ty Wissert was going to be, how great Petrecki was going to be, how great Doherty was going to be. All of those guys projected to be top 2 defensemen, and every one of them just. So until the Sharks learn how to draft and develop defensemen to be those studs, then that's the thing that I worry about a little bit.
I think
let's quickly. I want to kind of add to that real quick, because I feel like with those 8-year contracts that Doug handed out, you're not looking for that number 1 or number 2, to be quite honest. You don't need to backfill that right now. You have 8 years of both a 1 and a 2. What you do have in spare, I mean, you could trade Justin Braun. I think across the league he's seen as a good player. And I think Brendan Dillon could be expendable. Paul Martin could be expendable. And so this, like I'm saying, this is a position of strength that the Sharks haven't had in a while.
But aren't Burns and Vlasic both over 30?
No, I don't think
Vlasic's at 30, right?
Yeah, I think Vlasic is at 30.
And Burnsy is 32?
Vlasic is Burnsy's 32, Vlasic's 30, yes.
So, see, there you go. 30 or over, that's when you're starting to okay, we need to fill the cupboard, boys. And right now there is nothing unless Jeremy Waugh all of a sudden becomes made of steel and is the second coming.
Very good point.
I mean, it's interesting, but Mirko 323. I love Braun, but you're not getting Tavares or Duchesne with Braun, Tierney, and draft picks. I don't think that you could ask for that. And right now, I think that Tavares, if he's coming to San Jose, it's going to be in the offseason as a free agent. And we know the Sharks' track record with free agents. I don't even think AJ needs to go down that rabbit hole. So he's not coming.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing, though. Yeah. What nobody expected Thornton to be wearing teal. There were a lot of people that didn't expect Boyle to be wearing teal. So that is the one thing, is as much grief as we give the Sharks scouting and drafting and everything, especially on the defensive side of the game, give it up for Doug Wilson. He has pulled a couple of amazing trades out of his rear end, some blockbusters, to be honest. But again, I go back to the fact of, show me another team that has traded their last 2 number 1 picks. And of course, I'm pointing at Mueller and Goldobin.
Yep. And almost gave up their 2017 first rounder for Yannick Janssen with Goldobin.
Oh.
Just like, the bright side of that would have been if we were giving our first rounder with Goldobin to Vancouver, that would have meant that we were hoisting the cup. So would have been something good of it. Gen X in the chat, there is no Tavares to San Jose. That works. No trade, no UFA. He wants a cup. San Jose is no better than the Islanders for future.
Dude, if he wants a cup, dude, I mean, anybody can go down to the nearest Dick's Sporting Goods and grab an athletic supporter.
Damn.
Cup that bad.
I see Tavares going to Detroit.
Ooh, hot take.
Hot
take incoming.
That's a pretty good one.
They've been freeing up their cap. They're going to do it.
I'd love to see him go down to Florida just to replace Drouin.
Oh my God, are we talking about freaking Warriors South? I mean,
Johnny Hockey East.
Johnny Hockey East, yeah. I mean, look, if you put Tavares and Stamkos and Kucherov together, oh my God.
This is what I'm saying.
They still won't make out of They still won't make out of East. They put Pittsburgh, which just won't happen.
No, Sleepy Mofo, I would have agreed with you prior to the to the San Ramon native Austin Matthews deal, but I don't think that they're going to have the cap room to bring a Tavares in.
Nope, not anymore. I don't think, especially with Patty.
Yeah, with the Patty contract.
Yep.
Yeah, they've hitched their wagon to Austin Matthews, and that's the train that they're going for.
Yep.
Which is working for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. that team can score some goals, man, but it's always been and it always will be. Can they keep it out of the back of their net?
Well, just remember, in life, as in hockey, it takes goals to win.
Thank you, Jeff Friesen.
Shall we hit the scores, guys?
Yeah, let's hit the scores. And
all right. So there was this blonde chick in the second row I scored with, and then
oh my gosh! And how does your wife feel about that, AJ?
She took great photos. I'll send them to you later.
She scoped her out.
All right.
All right. Tonight, beginning with the Penguins and the Rangers, the Penguinos win in overtime against the Rangers 5-4. Flyers blow out the Panthers 5-1 tonight, and the Panthers are now 2-3 on their season. Rangers are 1-5, and people have asked, Eric, what do you think where the money is on the coach next going to be fired? It's going to be Vigneault. Maple Leafs beat the Capitals in a somewhat surprising defensive game. Who would have thought that? But Maple Leafs win 2-0 against the Capitals. Maple Leafs are now 5-1 on the season. Capitals are 3-1. Lightning and Devils. The Devils continue their kind of head-scratching season. I mean, that team's got some burners on it too. And Nico Hischier looking like a real deal. But Devils win tonight 5-4 against the Lightning. That went to shootout. The Canucks are 2-1. They beat the Senators 3-0. Predators beat the Avalanche and go 3-2. Go on the season 3-2-1. So they're starting to right the ship a little bit. They beat the Avalanche 4-1. Blue Jackets beat the Jets 5-2. Blue Jackets are also starting the season strong at 5-1. The Stars beat the Coyotes 3-1, and the Coyotes have yet to win a game. And right now, it is not looking great in Coyote land. The Hurricanes go 2-1-1 now. They're 5-3 on the season. They beat 2-1-1 on the season. Gosh, and are they beat the Oilers 5-3. The Oilers going down to 1-4 on the season. The Golden Knights in a hilarious game where they blow, what was it, a 4-goal lead?
Yep, and Kane had timed it with 8 seconds left in regulation.
And win in overtime 5-4 against the Sabres. The Sabres are now 1-4-2 and looking not great.
There were 11 games tonight, so quite a busy night.
Quite, definitely.
Yeah, especially on a Tuesday night. Going into standings, as we mentioned earlier, Vegas, LA, Calgary are your leaders in the Pacific. Chicago, St. Louis, and Colorado are your top 3 in the Central, with Nashville and Dallas your wild cards. San Jose at 4 points sits just 2 points out of a wild card spot. But they have Winnipeg, Vancouver, Anaheim, and Minnesota ahead of them. Edmonton at 2, Arizona at 1 rounds out your Western Conference. Guys, yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is T-Mac on the hot seat, for that matter, along with Tocchet in AV in Rangersville.
I think that T-Mac is only on the hot seat because he is in a Canadian market, and look, that team, people have some unreal expectations for that team right now, especially after they saw what they did last year.
T-Mac's on the hot seat because it's like, dude, you have Connor. You have Connor. How are you screwing this up? You have Connor.
Right. Well, and then they look at Toronto and see that they're only 1 point out of the best spot in the league, which is held by Tampa, which of course you can never tell who's who because they wear the same freaking uniforms. And not, but I digress. But I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I love the Toronto Maple Bolts.
or the Tampa Bay Maple Wings,
or the Toronto Maple Weeds,
yes,
with their old school logo.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, you see what Toronto's doing with all the youngsters there. I mean, it's envious right now, and you compare the two between McDavid and Matthews, and Toronto's been getting it done, and Toronto showed tonight that they can win a low scoring game.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I think it has to do with the GM of the Oilers, Peter Chiarelli. Came from Boston, and he came from that old school pound you down the throat with meat mentality that kind of was LA East. You know, it was either the Flyers are going to take the LA East mantle or the Bruins. And he's trying to transfer that to Edmonton. I mean, why do you have Zach Cassian on the team still? Why do you have Milan Lucic, who is an anchor, literally an anchor? Chris Russell also not that great in my opinion. Why are they on the team? I don't know.
I don't know.
Rat bastards.
Yeah.
Rat bastards.
So the Sharks now head out on the road. They actually will wear their white jerseys for the first time this season.
Can we also just take into account that this might be the first road trip in Sharks history that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Steve Hatchapetros finally got his head out of his butt and, could look at a map and, plot something that makes semi-sense. Good on you.
Yeah. No, I mean, this road trip coming up is a pretty smooth one for the Sharks. Friday, they'll be in New Jersey to take on the Devils at 4 p.m. The next night, they are in Brooklyn to take on the Islanders. That's a Saturday at 4 p.m. And then Monday, they're at MSG taking on the Rangers. And then next Thursday, the 26th, at Boston, and then they wrap it up with an early morning game. Yes, that's right. Breakfast with the Sharks on the 28th, Saturday, against the Buffalo Sabres. That's a 10 a.m. start locally.
Yeah, always love taking the first month of the season and getting rid of two teams just straight away.
Agreed.
Don't have to see them ever again.
Yeah, and especially East Coast teams because, it's good that you get those, interconference games out of the. I guess that's out of conference games away pretty quickly. Anyhow, guys, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up? We are hitting the golden hour mark.
Yes, absolutely. Eric, this one's for you. Landi, please put it on my camera. Here we go, baby.
Wow.
Can we just talk about this for a moment?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know tonight, this game was a national game for the Sharks, but when that happens, Brody watches it from the comfort of his home. But tonight he decided to make his way down to SAP and kind of hang out and take it all in. But he was also doing some social media stuff during the intermissions. So as you can see, he was up in the upper deck. Basically the door over his shoulder that you can see is basically you open that up, and that's where Mike Ricci and Doug Wilson and Brian Marchment are watching the games from. So way up there in the upper rafters. And so I had to take that up to him, and Brody got a big kick out of that. He thought it was fantastic. I told him that we'll get him another onesie that has, instead of 6, it says 9. But the fact that it says future Teal Town co-host, that was bomb. And Brody actually just tweeted that out, giving us a big shout out. So thank you so much, Brody.
Yeah, definitely. Just hilarious and awesome.
Did they move the broadcast booth down to the lower middle ground where it used to be?
Yeah, for tonight's game, they, if you remember the Sharks way back in the day, all through the 90s, the very early 2000s, Randy and Dan, they used to broadcast from the upper deck, first row of the upper deck in 115.
Yep.
And of course,
215.
those are 215. It's above 115. What are you going to
Yes.
do? But yeah, front row of 215. And of course, they want to sell. Those are premium seats. They want to sell those. So of course, they ended up moving the boys up to the rafters. So they sold those seats. But because tonight was against the Montreal Canadiens, our good friend on Twitter, Janice, who makes sure that all the ties are straight with the broadcast crew. She actually told me tonight that the reason why they were down there, and it's going to be the only time this season that they're down there, is because they had to make room for the English and French TV and the English and French radio to get everything back. Yeah, to get everything back to Montreal, and so there was literally no room. So they shuffled Randy and Danny down to 215. And you know what, though? I was standing there. Randy was actually like going over some notes, and he was pre-recording some bumpers for the beginning of the broadcast. And then Ruzanowski showed up, and when Ruzanowski walked by, he literally said, he goes, "Oh, just like old times." So,
affectionately called the Han Ruzanowski broadcast pit.
Hey,
all right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this thing up quickly. Let's go to the pimpage portion of the show. Alex, where can we find you? What do you do? Where can we go?
You can find me on Twitter at Al Martinet. And yeah, hope to be on more. It was great to be on. Thanks again, Puck Guy and everyone else.
AJ, where can we find you? And do we have an idea of when next knowledge is for real?
Oh, it's coming out this week. I'm trying to get everybody's schedule all lined up. Now that Rocket's relocated, it's just it's insanity. You can find me at AJ_strong on Twitter and Instagram. Also throwing up photos and videos for the Teal Town USA Instagram account. So make sure you follow all of that stuff. And actually threw up a fun Periscope tonight. So as always, make sure you follow Twitter at Teal Town USA.
Puck Guy, where can we find you? And what are you working on lately for the site?
I'll be doing nothing but working at work in about 4.5 hours. But you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Adult Friend Finder at PuckGuy14.
You're gonna put it on a T. We're gonna hit it.
Well, I thought I better say it now before you guys do. And we're working on a bunch of stuff. In fact, AJ just did a couple interviews. One is up right now with Sharks Executive Vice President and Chief Sales and Marketing Officer Flavel Hampston.
That's right, Flav.
Yeah, boy.
All right. Well, everybody, my name's Eric at Eric Landi. I'm going to throw up catch us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. We're on everything. And we're even going to be making a renewed push on Reddit. We are really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year on YouTube. So you would not mind subscribing. It's that little red button down there. You guys know where it is. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please do. Please let your friends know about us. Like I said before, we are really trying to ramp up the subscribership this year. And as you can tell, we've definitely cleaned up the language so we can get those replays on everybody's podcast for the drive home if you didn't catch the game or whatever. So anyhow, for all of us here at Teal Town USA, I'm Eric Landi, and thanks for joining. Have a good one, guys and gals.